Welcome back to the Telling the Odds movie channel, guys. Today we're going to be talking about Finch. Finch is directed by Miguel Sapochnik and stars Tom Hanks as Finch and Caleb Landry Jones as Jeff the Robot. It follows Finch, one of the few humans left in metropolitan St. Louis after a solar flare has left much of the planet a hostile wasteland. And being an engineer, he creates a robot to help him care for this pet dog. But when a hostile, insurvivable storm approaches them, Finch, the robot, and the dog Goodyear must set off across the country to find salvation from the deadly conditions that are drawing close to them. This movie premiered yesterday on Apple TV, and I was lucky enough to check it out so I can give you guys a review. Guys, this movie is a lot of fun. It's got a lot of heart, and it's a refreshingly optimistic viewpoint on this post-apocalyptic wasteland stereotype story structure that we've seen play out in a lot of movies recently. Tom Hanks is great. Big surprise, because like in Castaway, he's the only human face and he never fails to keep you invested. Even when he's in a bad movie, he's the best part of it. And the relationship that he shares with this robot feels very human and it feels very genuine, and that is also a compliment to Caleb Landry Jones, who plays Jeff the Robot. He's a very talented guy. He plays the brother in Get Out, which is one of my favorite horror films. And he sells this robot because he is in a motion capture and he's providing voice acting for this character, and it never feels forced or silly. It actually feels really intimate between this robot and Tom Hanks, because the movie is based around this robot slowly learning how to understand the ins and outs of what it means to be human, and I bought it purely based on the chemistry between these two characters. As a dog fan, I immediately threw myself into this movie. I own a dog, and the fact that this movie basically ride and dies with the dog, it's basically just to keep this dog safe, that immediately drew me into it. Despite the fact that it doesn't do a whole lot new with this, man and a dog in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, kind of like an I Am Legend. It doesn't do a whole lot new with that kind of story, but it's got a lot of heart and it's got Tom Hanks, so you give it a pass. Also, I really enjoyed how much this movie paid attention to its thematic depth. There are some really great themes at play in this movie involving trust and accepting help from others, which kind of is the crux of Tom Hanks' character, Finch. It's kind of the crux of his backstory. He doesn't trust people, he prefers to work alone, and the actions that he takes in this movie regarding what they're trying to do completely correlate to those trust issues, and it was earned based on what we had established about this character early on, and it made where his character goes and his relationship with this robot and the dog, it makes all that feel really human, which is, again, not an easy task when Tom Hanks is the only human face that you see in this movie. This idea of other people being the enemy in Finch's eyes, regardless of whether he is right for thinking that, it's well executed without ever having to show another human being. Sometimes you just get flashes of like car headlights in the distance. Sometimes we see cars going over a bridge, and Jeff and Finch, they rush to hide so they're not found out by another human. It feels really great because it kind of reminded me of Steven Spielberg's Duel, with these just two cars that serve as the protagonist and the antagonist of the story. You very rarely see the human face of this antagonistic truck that is chasing after the hero of that story. You never get to see a human face, but it feels like a very human battle, which is fantastic, and I thought that Finch really executed that properly. The faults of this movie do also kind of relate to those themes of trust, because I understand why Finch doesn't trust anyone in this movie, and I understand why that has to play into the larger scope of what these characters are trying to do and the place they're trying to get to and the way that they're trying to survive from these massive storms that threaten to just kill them. But Finch's trust issues and the reasons for those trust issues, I didn't feel we got the best reason as to why. We do get a good reason why, but it didn't feel as impactful, and the reason that he gives for why he doesn't trust anyone and why he prefers to work alone, I feel like could have been fleshed out a little bit more. The reason he gives feels very surface-based. If they had given a more intimate and human connective way to explain why he doesn't trust anyone, maybe he had problems with his family or with a lost loved one, someone that betrayed him, something like that, that would have given me a good reason and would have made me understand why he fails to trust or accept help from anyone. The reason that he does give, though, for why that is the case, just didn't feel as impactful as it could have been. And again, I kind of touched on this already, but it doesn't do a whole lot that the post-apocalyptic boy and his dog story hasn't already done. But Tom Hanks and a dog kind of gives the movie a pass with how much heart it instills into you. So you're kind of willing to look by that, because at the heart of this story is a very deep, emotional, human connection that is growing within this robot, and how he learns to be more like his creator, how he learns to be more human, and how he learns to understand the human relationships that just evolve over time. The relationship that the robot develops with this dog that they're caring for is so gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's really nice to just watch pan out. As a dog lover, again, the interactions that these two characters have with the dogs felt very real. It never felt scripted. I was watching the movie and I was like, that is exactly what I would do with my dog, and that's exactly how my dog would react. But overall, guys, I feel like this is a movie that you should absolutely check out. It's a very easy watch. It's just under 2 hours, and you can watch it from the comfort of your own home, so it's going to be a very easy watch. You don't have to exert yourself to actually go see it. The movie is really good. Tom Hanks kills it as usual. This character, Caleb Landry Jones, portrays as this robot Jeff, is really well fleshed out and almost feels like the most human character in the movie, despite being a very artificial character. The dog is awesome, as I said, and the relationship that exists between these three felt really earned. The trust issues and the inability to accept help from Tom Hanks was well fleshed out, and it's well executed as far as what happens later in the movie because of that. But the reasons for those trust issues, like I said, could have been developed a little bit more. I think this movie has a lot of heart. It's a feel-good movie, which is not an easy task in a post-apocalyptic setting. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. So guys, that is my review for Finch. Let me know if you have checked it out yourself. Let me know what you thought, as well as leaving me a comment, make sure to subscribe to this channel. And as always, make sure that you check out Michael and my podcast, Telling the Odds, every week, where we unpack and talk everything Star Wars, because though we'd love to talk about movies and that kind of thing, Star Wars is our main export. So I really hope you enjoyed this review, guys, and everything that we still intend to bring you. Check out my other reviews on the channel, as well as the past episodes of the podcast, and I'll see you later.